So welcome to another episode of Sofa Chat. Woo, we back at season 2. We almost wrapping up this season, you guys and girls and friends and family out there and supporters and followers. Holy crap. We are literally about I think a month out from a month and some change out from the end of our season 2, and it's been amazing. This week has been a jam-packed week for us. As you can see, every week, before I get into our, dishing the nitty gritty and stuff like that of what's going on and stuff like that, as you can see, if you guys have really followed us, every week Oh my goodness, we had a little, faux pas with the whole internet situation. Internet is not always reliable, y'all, just so y'all know. Um, so, like I was saying, every week we change the color of the set, the lighting. And this week, what we did was we have it rotating in different colors because, for those of you who may not know, it is Pride Month. Yes, the month of June is Pride Month, in addition to many other things. So, we'll be getting into that as well. In one of our upcoming episodes, but we also will be taking the time to acknowledge Gun Violence Awareness Month, which is also the month of June. So we will spend one of our episodes and we will dedicate it to gun violence, where we will also wear orange as support. This past week, this actually yesterday, our Bronx Borough President, Vanessa L. Gibson, actually participated with a large amount of other individuals in the Bronx for a 5K walk, run, or roll, as she said, um, to bring awareness to gun violence. So we'll definitely be getting into that. But like we say every week on Sofa Chat, what we discuss here is solely the lived experience of the individual. We do not endorse or support any organization, company, or anything of that nature. But like we tell you guys all the time, we're always welcome to, accept a nice little donation or, like so sponsorship. We'll always work the details out, sit down, have a nice little conversation. But anywho, this week, like I said, has been a jam-packed week, you guys. My husband and I had a couple of things that we had to do this week, and literally we just got back home this morning because we were attending the Mr. and Miss Gay New Jersey pageant, which was yesterday in Asbury Park, New Jersey, which was phenomenal. So thank you to the entire committee that organized this, as well as the pageantry committee, for the Mr. and Miss Gay New Jersey pageant. It was amazing. We had a great time. We felt so welcomed. As you guys may not know, or may know if you really follow us, my husband and I are also pageantry title holders, former pageantry holders in the New York City pageantry circuit. Babe, did I miss anything that you want me to mention out there besides what we typically mention about what's going on in the upcoming week?
Well, no. Well, actually, this is the beginning of the breaking of the June Pride Month and stuff like that. There was a lot of things that happened in this month, and so in the beginning of this month, I guess the first things that was happening was the Bronx Pride flag raising. And so we want to say congratulations to all the people that got proclamations and stuff like that. There was quite a few people that got proclamations. Maybe you want to run that down real quick.
Yeah, so my husband, he brings that up, so that's awesome because I didn't forget, but I have so much on my mind that I want to mention to you guys that I kind of do slip my mind in the order of what I want to tell you guys. But yes, so I had the extreme honor, along with my husband and my mother, as well as several other individuals in the building and dignitaries, to participate at the flag raising ceremony in the Bronx at Bronxborough Plaza by the wonderful Bronxborough president, Vanessa L. Gibson. And I was wow. I was very honored that I was recognized with a citation of merit by the Bronxborough president. So that was extremely, extremely honorable for the work that I've done, not just within the community and the work that I'm doing now, but also for the work that I've done with my husband at the NYTBF, who was also in the building. And quick selfish plug right there. For those of you who have not gotten your registration in as far as the competitors, August 20th is the date. The NYTBF has partnered with New York Black Pride and will be having their event be the kickoff to the expo. The location cannot be disclosed yet, but when I tell you guys, everything that the NYTBF does is iconic, legendary, memorable for the books. Okay, so come out, support, make a memory, make it memorable.
25th
because
anniversary, so it's the 25th.
Yeah, this is what is it again? You said Black Pride's 25th
anniversary. Yeah.
25th anniversary. So definitely come out and support, but also come out and make history. You heard me. Make history. Let's go. Don't talk about it. Just be about it. So I hope in the next couple of weeks, we'll be seeing those registrations go up even more than they already have. So definitely go to nytbf.info. There are still some updates, if I'm not mistaken, being made to the website. So please don't be discouraged or be deterred. If you happen to incur some issues when you're actually trying to register, please definitely go onto the contact section and reach out, send an email so that we can definitely address your needs. What else do you want to say, babe?
Shout out to oh my gosh, all the people on that day that actually got it. I can't remember everybody's name, so I don't want to start shouting the wrong names.
Oh my goodness,
like
I don't have the paper right in front of me, but
I know it was Destination's team.
Destination Tomorrow received the proclamation for being the Bronx LGBT Center. That they co-collaborated with a lot of governmental officials to bring back the Bronx LGBT Center back to the Bronx, which had closed down many years ago, and the Bronx was one of the very few boroughs that didn't have that form of space. So with the collaboration, they were able to bring that back. So they received the proclamation, and there was about 3 other individuals, if I'm not mistaken, in addition to myself, that received citations of merit. So congratulations to you 3. It's an extreme honor, for us to all have received those acknowledgments. Also to Dirk McCall, who definitely was acknowledged, definitely impactful in bringing the Bronx LGBTQ plus task force, and creating that with our former administration, with Ruben Diaz Jr. And Richie Torres. They all collaborated and brought that back, but that was Dirk's baby. So definitely shout out and congratulations to Dirk McCall. But also shout out to Alexis, who is now, taking over the reins for the the Bronx LGBTQ plus task force. Um, Wow, that's a mouthful. But in addition to that, there's a lot of things coming up this week. So, my husband and I will have the esteemed honor of attending the mayor's event, which is happening this upcoming week for a kickoff for Pride. So we'll be there. We will also be at another few events that we will be posting up. Thank you, babe. We also have another few events that we'll be posting up. I also want to remind you guys that we have the Just Lay Slay challenge going on. And I got to be really honest with y'all, right? I'm going to get a little closer, right? So y'all can see. Now, I stop laughing. Okay.
I'm laughing because I know.
He knows what I'm talking about. Yes, he was. So my husband and I, like I said, we went to the Miss Gay New Jersey pageant yesterday. And congratulations to both winners. You both did an amazing job. We love you both. But so as we have this Just Lay Slay challenge, I have to be very, very transparent. As much as I know from my agent, where that we are on, that specifically my billboard is on the subways, and the bus depots and things of that nature. I hardly ever see it. Like there's one campaign that I see very so often, when the news shows like 59th Street when the A train is passing by, and I see my poster, ideally when the commentator is speaking behind, doing the voiceover. But I really never see my picture. I've only seen it 1 year, right? So my husband and I, it's really early this morning. We're on our way home. We're, on the subway. I'm not going to tell you what subway station because I don't want you guys to follow me and see where I'm at and where I'm traveling to. It's private information, Girl needs her privacy. But anywho, so we were sitting on the platform and the train pulls in the station, right? So I'm always looking. But for some reason, this one train, I was really out of it. It was so early that I was tired. So I'm like dozing out. Now, as the train doors, right before the train doors close, I look up and I'm like, wow, that girl looks so familiar. And I start screaming, oh my God, that's me.
Really loud.
That's me.
Really
That's
loud.
me.
Really loud.
I had a fan out moment with my own picture. It was hilarious. Mind you, it's like 7:30 in the morning. Like 7:30, 7:45 in the morning. But yeah, so the Just Lay Slay challenge is still going on. Like I said, we will be awarding the award recipient that has shared the most, and caught me in the most locations. We will be doing that at our last show for season 2, where yes, we will have a live studio audience. If you'd like tickets to be a guest on our show, please definitely email us at sofachat02@gmail.com. So that we can definitely put you on the list. Seats are limited, so please definitely do it. They are free, free, free. Okay, there is no charge for the tickets. We are asking if you would like to make a donation, so you do so, but you don't have to. These tickets are free. We just want you to come and support and have a great time. We have an amazing show. We will not release those details for another few weeks because they're so spicy. So speaking about spicy, right? This evening's show is going to be phenomenal. All of the shows that we do are phenomenal. All of our guests are amazing, right? But this person right here, just like a few of our guests that we've had the pleasure of having on our show, is near and dear to my husband's heart, my husband and my heart. We had the gracious opportunity of meeting them and starting an amazing, not just work and business relationship, but a great relationship as individuals, when we started doing work together with their company and our company. And from there, it's just been nothing but love, and an amazing work relationship. We've flourished both separately as well as the work that we've done together. So before I bring them in, I'd like to read a little bit about them, right? But my husband brought me a flyer, right? So I'm going to save this to the end so that I can, you know, properly announce the awardees that were awarded with me at the flag raising ceremony, right? So our guest this evening is none other than Dr. Gennifer Herley. So I'm just gonna read a little bit because, you know, I have a lot to say and I really want to dish with her. And we're already 15 minutes in from an intro, and I want to spend as much time as we can with her because our time is limited. We sign off at 7 o'clock. So it reads, Dr. Gennifer Herley, PhD, is the founder and executive director of Trans New York. Gennifer is a proud transgender woman who recently transitioned and earned her doctorate degree in 2014. Prior to founding Trans New York, she ran A Better Life Counseling for 7 years. Gennifer is currently finishing her memoir, which she hopes is completed by 2020. It's 2022, y'all. We gotta see where she's at with that. Gennifer organized the first transgender conference in New York called the New York Coming Out Conference. This 3-day conference had over 100 workshops and hosted keynote speakers such as Sarah McBride from the Human Rights Campaign and Sam Britton from the Trevor Project, among others. And a little selfish plug, y'all. The new NYTBF was there and had the extreme honor of having our first event with with Trans New York and Dr. Jen, where we were able to host a fitness competition, which was all inclusive to all genders. And prior to that, my husband also held his own workshop there, focusing on fitness, health, and wellness, as well as bodybuilding poses. Did I miss anything in that section, babe?
No.
Okay.
Come on.
So, getting back to the ends of her bio. And she's also a first-time conference organizer. So we're gonna get into this, y'all. So please, I just ask that you all put your hands together for none other than our guest this evening on Sofa Chat, the amazing Dr. Gennifer Herley.
Unmute.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome. Whew.
That was quite an introduction. Wow.
I had to hold myself back. I had so much more that I wanted to say, but I didn't want to, yuck your yum. There's so much that I want to sit and dive into with you because, I shared in your intro, it's been an amazing, relationship that we have had. We've started off with just, getting in contact for the bodybuilding competition, and who knew that several years ago when we started working together, how connected we would be and how much work we would be able to get done all together. So thank you so much for being willing to come on the show and being our guest on our show this evening.
Well, it's my pleasure to be here. It's just that that's really what it is. I mean, I love you and Sebastian. I really do. You're my favorite couple. I always tell people you guys are the cutest couple I know. There are no cuter couple than the two of you. I mean that in the most endearing way.
Thank you. So before we dive into these amazing questions that I have set up this evening, just for our viewers to get to know you, is there anything that you can share with our viewers about yourself, like just a little bit of a snippet of who was little Dr. Jen? Who was Dr. Jen when she was growing up?
That's great question. So I'm really a baby. I'm a baby in this beautiful community that we have because I came out. It'll be 4 years in June, which is Pride. My birthday is in June 11th, and I founded Trans New York in June. Yeah. So, you know, I came out at the right age of 56. I'll be 60 this year. And it's really been a remarkable, I just dove right in. It's been a really remarkable launch into this, like I said, this beautiful community. I didn't ever think it would be like this. I actually was quite frightened, like most of us, coming out. I thought that I would lose the entire world. And I lost some people. But I never imagined that family there waiting for the community, so it's just been fabulous that way. You mentioned the conference. The conference to me was the biggest thing to do, because when I was in the closet, I was essentially in the closet for 30 years. I was married to a cis woman for that approximate time. Actually, for about 30 years. I was in the closet for 4 years, so excuse me. So I was in the closet for all that time, and the only time I really had access, it's kind of interesting. What I love the most is that we all got together, and in our community, and I'll just go with the T. I don't have to say LGBT, and it's like that. We're not all together, and it's understandable. There's just we don't know each other. For example, well, you and your husband are different. Trans men don't usually hang around with trans women. White people don't go together with people of color. It's really no different outside, but somehow you all got together, and that really meant so much to me, because I really feel like I want to make a difference in our entire community, but I think the most marginalized part of our community, I think I really want to make the largest impact. And I think that it's incumbent upon somebody like myself, if I have a privilege, to use my privilege to help others who don't have a privilege.
I'm actually glad that it's funny that the intro that you're making for yourself, because it's a lot of what I really want to dive into, the conversation that I want to have with you this evening. So if you allow me to, I'd love to dive into these questions, because, so that not just those who already know you and know the work that you do, but those who may not know, and those viewers who, whether they are logging in live to see us now, or whether they are going to catch it when they have a chance to, give them an opportunity to get to know you and who you are and the work that you do. So I'd just like to start off by asking, what was it like growing up? And it's a two-part question. So what was it like growing up? And when did you choose to transition?
Yeah, that's great. No, great question. So, the first time I ever dressed, I think 7 years old. First of all, just to talk about my family, there were 6 kids, 5 boys. Well, now 4. So in the first 4 of us, we're only 5 years apart. So, my parents were very busy having kids. And I'm Irish, I'm Catholic, I'm Hungarian. And, my family had a reputation. We lived out on Long Island, grew in the middle class, all white neighborhood. And my family, like I said, they had a reputation. So this idea of me coming out is just like mind blowing that I even did it. But I did that at a my mom for me. I tried to tell back in those days there were no words like transgender, right? So when I told my mom I came back in this brownie outfit, I said, "Mom, I don't want to get out of this. I really love this." And she looked at me and said, "Your father will burn you if you don't get out of that." And I got out of it. And then it was a couple of years when I was like 12, 13, where I had those feelings. I just sort of suppressed it. And it came roaring back. And when I was 18 years old, I was dating my ex-wife. Not old, so, but I was dating her, and we couldn't be intimate at her house or my house because we both lived with our parents. So we used to go to a hotel, and anything that she had, I kept in my car. So one day I don't know what I ought to try that on, and I did, and then it was just like I kept on thinking, go away. I was like, I dressed and I put it away, and I dressed and I put it away. But it lasted for a long time. I was pretty much in denial about who I was. And interesting enough, when I started counseling, I was working with people with their gender identity while denying my own. But when you speak to people, it's extremely helpful. To hear what theirs. That's why I went to conferences to sort of say, okay, well, this is who I am, or I'm not that weird. I woke up on May 17th. I was divorced. I was divorced at 6 years old. We didn't get divorced because of my gender. We got divorced because we fell out of love. And my daughter was living with me. I had my own bedroom. It was like my oasis. And it was beautiful. Feminine as could be. I woke up and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't live two lives. It was killing me, and I was having a lot of trouble controlling the message, and I was frightened about that. I was worried that if I didn't make a plan and plan this thing out, that it would just leak out, and then it would be, I wouldn't be able to sort of control it. And I was a big person in mental health, obviously. I've been speaking to the same analyst. I don't think I should admit how many years time. And I wrote her a letter, and look, I'm going to need to do this. And I wrote down like 10 bullet points why. And then at the end, I wrote, I think I'm going to regret writing this email to you. And the reason I said that was because I knew that she wouldn't let me off the hook, but she already knew who I was. But of course, a good therapist will have you find that out for yourself, right? So that's what I did on May 7, 2017. I decided, I didn't actually come out then. I decided to go on HRT. And then I came out in June, right by my birthday, June of 2018. And I told my sister, I told my daughter first. I have a daughter. She's 22 now. At that time, she was 18 in high school. And I told her, and she was, she was very supportive. She just turned to me and she said, "Dad, are you going to wear dresses all the time?" I said, "Do you wear dresses all the time?" So she said, "No." That's what she said. So I said, "No, do you wear?" So, she was really cool about it. And then Father's Day came. She still calls me Dad, and I'm cool with that. That's fine with me. And I said, her name is Natalie. And I said, "Natalie," I said, "be honest with me. I'm your dad. If this is bothering you, you really need to be able to talk about it." And she looked at me and she said, "Dad," she said, "you've been my rock. You've been my hero. You're the person who's always supported me my whole life. It doesn't matter what you look like on the outside. What matters are who you are on the inside." and I know who you are. And that's when I said to myself, I did a decent job raising her, right? Because, she could have said something else, So, anyway,
So
from there,
funny.
I told my sister because, well, I had to tell my ex-wife. I forgot about that. That was a story in itself. But yeah, I told my ex-wife, and she sort of had ideas about it anyway. But she was good at that point. She wasn't good later, but she was good at that point. Um, and then I told my sister, and I told her first, and I said, "Look, you have to tell our brothers." Um, I wasn't really afraid of my brothers, but when you have a big family, I'm sure you realize that, we all have a tendency to revert back to when we were like teenagers and we pick on each other. So I didn't really want to be picked on right at that moment. I needed the support. But um, my one brother was sort of a holdout. He was having a lot of issues with it. And I basically called him. It was right before Christmas. And I said, listen, dude, I go, we don't get together that often, but if you want to get together on Christmas, that's like one of the few times we get together. I'm not coming unless you come and see me and you talk to me. And he did, and he came with his girlfriend, and I put my arms out and I said, "Is this so bad? Are you going to catch this? Are you going to catch transgender?" Um, and It was pretty cool. But Leilani, it's been an interesting journey. That was right at the beginning, and I think what happens is, at the beginning when I think all of us transition, it's so important for us to have acceptance from everybody, and we're desperate. We're desperate for that. And I think what I realized later was that there were members of my family who were sort of tolerating me, and I don't want to be tolerated. I want to be loved, and I think life is short. We should enjoy each other. And if you're not enjoying your time with me, then I'm not enjoying my time with you. Then we just got to sort of cut bait, as they say. And two of my brothers, unfortunately, I had to sort of let go of at this point. I'm open to, if they call, but I'm not gonna,
It's not working, and at times, that it's. I think it's just human nature for, especially when we're connected to individuals, for us to like really want to reconcile in any way and leave like any opportunity open to reconcile, but also, it takes a bigger person to realize when it's not healthy, for each of us or each individual within that situation to, engage in a conversation. Sometimes you do need some space apart, to grow and to educate yourself. So, I'm sorry to hear that you lost, not in the sense of loss, but that you don't have that relationship with two of your siblings like you do with the rest of them. But I hope in due time, because like you said, life is short. I just hope in due time you're able, or they're able to see what a beautiful and amazing person that you still are, because I'm sure I know that you're still the same person you were before, just a little more spicier and a lot more educated. Um, but I'd love to move on to our next question. Say that again.
Eyebrows.
Oh, and my husband said your eyebrows look fantastic.
oh, I just had them
They
done.
they look great.
They look amazing. They did an amazing job.
Yeah. Okay, so I'd like to know where did the idea come from for you to create Trans New York, but also to create the New York Coming Out Conference?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, we'll go to the conference first. So the conference really was born out of the fact that um, I went to conferences outside of New York. I was like, how come it's not a 3-day conference in New York? And, I found out quick because it's really, really goddamn expensive. So, I mean, the conference that we had was really expensive. But You know, and I'll be honest, any retirement money I had, I spent on that conference, but it was all worth it, Leilani, because um, I know I gained so much when I went to conferences, and I had a few people. I was in the vendor room, and this gentleman found me through people who were working at our conference, and they said, "Jen, he wants to talk to you." And I said, "Hi, how are you?" And he said, "Great." He goes, this is what he said to me. He goes, "I've been waiting 30 years for something like this to be in New York." And he said, I'm here tonight for that. He says, I cross dress. That's the way he said it. And he said, but, I'm not really comfortable, doing that, but I just wanted to be here. And I said, well, you're going to stay for dinner. And he said, well, I didn't buy a ticket. I said, well, look, you could be my guest. He said, you know what? He says, I've been here for like 45 minutes. It's like, it's enough for me. I just wanted to come and thank you for having this. And honestly, there were lots of people, lots of things that went on that night. But that particular moment for me was everything, because one person who never had a chance to, for whatever reason, there's plenty of resources in New York, but for whatever reason, he never found that, right? And just that one time, because I had that conference, he was able to feel that. So, um, and as far as starting Trans New York, as I was doing a better life, and then I just was like, well, that's a natural to keep doing the mental health with people, but let's open a nonprofit and see what else we can do with this, and the mental health was always sort of the backbone. My PhD is in organizational psychology. So, it's kind of interesting how that kind of boomerang thing came back because, we do workforce inclusion training for corporations, and that's a pay for fee service. And that really helps Trans New York offer other services like the workforce readiness that we're doing that we'll talk about. And so that's why I came out with Trans New York. I don't know why I came up with the name Trans New York. I guess because, we live in the greatest city in the world. And I was like, there wasn't somebody who said Trans New York. So I was like, Trans New York.
So, how do you feel that the work that you have done is impacting not just the transgender community, but also all other communities or other gender identities? How do you feel that your work is not only has, but is continuing to impact?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. Today I was at Babylon Pride, and had a parent come up to my table today, and we were talking about things. And really, what Trans New York is an education platform. So when you think about mental health, we're educating people on mental health, or what I like to call self-development. The workforce inclusion training, is education. There's 2 million trans people in the country. Maybe it's 3 million. But there's 330 million people in the country. There is so much education needed. We've got a young generation, Generation Z. I mean, they're saying that it can be as high as 10%. I mean, it's just amazing. So I think some of the work that we're doing is really impacting. Well, and then we have our work for training impacts companies as well because they're looking for talent. They need to hire people, and they want to hire gender diverse or trans people, but they don't know how to go about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the 3 programs that we have are really impactful to the entire population. And I think as trans and diverse people, we have to think like that. We have to reach out to all kinds of groups to get people to work with us and accept us.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you, before we get into our next question, ideally for those of you who may or may not know, and as you can hear Dr. Jen, stating that she has, along with other, parties that she's involved, has created a work inclusion, a workforce readiness program. And ideally, I have the extreme honor of being one of the facilitators of the training. And what I can say is, when you do this work, you really don't realize sometimes the impact that it'll make. But you hope that you'll actually change somebody's life. So I can say, that this is something amazing that Dr. Jen has brought, to the forefront, because it's very, very needed, especially within the trans community. So thank you, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to facilitate, and be one of the trainers. Um, but I'd like to ask then, how do you balance, right, work? Because for you, for those of you who may or may not know, when you own a business, whether for profit or not for profit, work is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It does not stop, because when it stops, when you stop doing the work, if you don't have a team with you, then those that are you doing the work for, um, they're impacted by the lack of work that gets done, or the lack of service that's being provided. So ideally, how do you balance work and having a personal life?
Yeah. Well, it's really
Well,
hard.
it's really
The most important thing is if you are in a relationship, partner who's supportive. Now, I know you have a
No,
supportive
you have a support.
partner. I have a supportive
I
partner.
have a
My
support.
wife, Nancy.
Nancy.
Um,
Um,
Even today, we were at Babylon Pride doing the
Pride.
show, and we've got to go to our moms after the show.
After.
But you're right. I
But
mean,
you're right. I mean,
the work is so important. It's hard to pull ourselves away from it. But, I try to do the best I can, but I also recognize that, we're building something here and we're helping people. And like I said, I have a supportive wife. So I think that as long as she's good with what I'm doing, um, then I do as much as I possibly can. And Pride is like so busy now. So, and by the way, I heard you're going to the mayor's event. So are we. I didn't get a chance to say
Oh,
that
so
to you
we
before.
see you
We'll be
there.
hanging out.
There you go. Oh, we're definitely gonna have an even better time.
Yeah.
So, um, all right. So you're a proud and visible woman of trans experience. How has it been to not only transition to become this amazing and talented humanitarian, but to also find love while you're on your journey? How has it been, like, finding love? Because I'm sure when you woke up, you said in May in 2017, you didn't. I'm sure you didn't have in your mind, finding love or anything like that. I'm sure as a lot of us that transition, whether it be early or late in life, our focus is to live our authentic selves and feel 100%, or as close to 100%, be comfortable, you know, assimilating into society and just being ourselves. So, how has it been, transitioning, but also finding love while transitioning?
You're going to get me to cry. You're going to get me to cry. It's been amazing. I I'm shocked sometimes at the life that I've had for the last 4 years. It's just been so incredible. I feel so blessed. And then, the conference was really the reason I met my wife. It's actually the only reason I met her. I had the conference. She joined a meetup group. I saw her on Facebook earlier, you know what I mean? But I was like, wow, she's hot, but I never even thought about dating a trans woman. I didn't know who I was going to date or what I was going to do. And you know, to meet a trans woman, to fall in love, to have somebody who I can share, the same things that we're both going through. Although we're completely different people, as you know Nancy, her and I couldn't be any more different. But for the first of my time in my life to be able to be me 100%. And she's so accepting. Sometimes I'm apologizing still, I'm sort of still in that mode, like, am I too feminine? Like I want to be more of a girl. And she's like, Gennifer, you're already like, super feminine. But if you want to be more, that's fine. So it's been, Leilani, it's just been amazing. And to find love when as a trans person, I've done groups where we on relationships, and there are so many lonely trans and gender diverse people. And honestly, since I'm here, I just want to say there's hope for everybody. Dr. Jen found somebody. You don't have to be a doctor to find somebody. Leilani has a beautiful husband. And it's all there for us. You just got to sort of believe in yourself. And I think that when you're a good person and you're trying to help other people, I think the universe comes back. We were talking about this off stage, Leilani, right? We were talking about how the universe. I really believe in that. And I think the universe sent me Nancy. I love her so much. I spend every minute with her. We fall asleep. We fall asleep holding hands. I mean, it's just an amazing thing. I it's just really something.
And that's awesome. Like you said, before you transition, you were married. You have a daughter. So you met somebody before and you had this opportunity to, have love and have a family, and to have that opportunity, some people don't get that, so it's awesome that you've had the opportunity to not just, have, someone that you've created a life with, in the beginning of your life, but this is now the second chapter of your life, and you're creating even more memories, with someone that you love. So that's amazing. Um, Now, just diving from personal to work a little bit, like business and stuff like that. Diving back into that, and because we have just a few more minutes left. Um, how has it been as a new, well, not really new like that anymore, because Trans New York has been around for a couple of years already now.
Yeah.
Just like the NYTBF. But in the beginning, when you first founded, Trans New York, how was it, engaging with other, it's funny. I'm glad you touched on the color barrier right there,
Yeah.
earlier in the conversation, because I wanted to ask you a question, but I didn't know how to segue, and I literally scratched it off, and I'm actually going to jump back into it because you just drove my passion. So as a new 501c3, opening up your own organization, how was it engaging with other nonprofit, owners and CEOs and founders, not just founders and owners of 501c3s, but those within the communities of color? How was it trying to, engage with those communities that ideally, let's be frankly honest, from the Caucasian community have feel like they've been, mistreated, marginalized, tokenized? How was it as a, a white woman,
Yeah.
engaging in those conversations? I'm sure they must have been difficult,
Yeah, it was really challenging. Honestly, for the conference, I gave out over 150 tickets to nonprofits that were Black and brown, but as you were there. There weren't that many Black and brown people there, so it was I guess sort of humbling. It was humbling. I was a little disappointed, and but I understood. I don't think I mentioned, but I teach sociology as an adjunct professor, and that's helped me sort of see. Being a middle class white person, you know, you don't really get to see what people are going through, other than what you see on TV, and that's not very helpful at all. And we don't live with each other, like if like with you and Sebastian, I love you guys. You know what I mean? Like if you guys were my neighbors, there would be great. You know what I mean? But we don't have that. So there's sort of a a mistrust. I think
Mm-hmm.
on both sides. I mean, for me, I was like, well, I'll just invite people and they'll come, and they didn't come, and I was like, wow, what? Why wouldn't you come? you know, those tickets were a lot of money. You know, um, but I understood, and I think I'm very passionate about this. I really believe that as a community, particularly and I'm only going to talk about the T, right? Not the L and the G, but I really believe as the T, we cannot afford not to work together. We just can't. Okay.
Yeah.
Bottom line, people can say what they want. You can go on your own and, whatever. But if we're going to be a movement and make a difference politically and economically, every single way, then we all need to find a way to work together. And
Yeah.
I'm maybe I'm crazy, people might say, but I will keep doing that until my last breath. So I truly believe, and I recognize also, as I said, that I have white privilege, and I have, that conference that I had. I'll be frank about it. I don't think that if somebody was a person of color, they would have been able to pull that off. I'm just being honest about it because I was able to get a lot of sponsors through some people who knew some people, right? Those are the connections that I had really as a white person. It's just the way it is. Is it
Yeah.
fair? No, it's not fair. But I recognize it and I'm willing to put myself out there for the community that's marginalized that needs more help than white people do. Right? White, transgender, diverse people. I'm not saying all of them, but they don't
Mhm.
need as much help as the folks who are black and brown in our community. So, um, so
I understand. I
it's
really do.
it's challenging. I know on the end of working with people who are black and brown, I know there's pressure on you to work with someone who's Caucasian. I know that's out there, right?
Yeah, like I said, like I totally understand because, when I got into the work that I do, and I know we're like 8 minutes out from the end of our show, and I'll keep
Oh
it
my
brief,
God.
because I still want, ask you something else, and give you well, not ask you, but give you the opportunity to share whatever else. And I think Sebastian has something he'd like to ask you as well. Um, I just like to say thank you because ideally I do understand, as a woman of trans experience, when I first started, my transition and speaking in different forums, and going into different rooms, I was somewhat tokenized because I was always asked, well, can you be part of this group because we don't have a trans person here? And as much as my community, my trans community would tell me, you're being tokenized, they should pay you for this, this, that, all of this, their opinions of what they wanted to share. I still went and did the work because I felt like at the end of the day, I was going to have these conversations the way Leilani has them, not the way they have their conversations. I respect everybody's way they advocate and they do activism work, and I want to be respected for the way that I do mine. But I also want to be known that when I go into these rooms and I have these conversations, I do them as an inclusive person because I want to make sure we're all supported. So I totally understand what you're saying. As having that privilege to get the opportunity to be in these venues, these spaces, these conversations, you want to bring that access to others that might not have that access. So I thank you for that. I think that's a wonderful opportunity. Before I give you the opportunity to give any closing remarks, I just wanted to see if my lovely of lovely, my husband, like you guys all know out there, he makes us look good and makes sure we run amazingly. And he's also the co-producer of Sofa Chat, and my co-host, my co-partner with our production company. So, babe, do you have any questions for Dr. Jen?
Actually, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for the work that you're doing. Thank you for, actually pointing out like some important points of the how you say where we have like different disconnect within our community. I love the way you articulated it. I feel that I could feel everything that what you were saying, because a lot of it I could relate to. Growing up being a trans man of color in Long Island is total difference from being a trans man of color growing up in New York City, in the tri-state area of the city. And the point being is not even being able to have knowledge that I was a trans man growing up in Long Island. Just knowing that I was feeling very different and not knowing how many people I could actually share that with. Feeling that I could share that with nobody, only sharing it with, my inner family, and being innerly rejected, or being, the family joke at times. So I understand where it says feeling like, when you say feeling like being tolerated at times versus being directly loved. I know you, like how you say, they care about you because you're family, but it's still a different type of love. You want that straight, authentic love. And so it feels nice. And I, just thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sebastian. It's
Yeah.
very nice you said that. I think that,
And I think that,
I was
yeah,
going to
no,
say,
what I was just going to say, I was going to give you the
that's
opportunity
what
to
we,
make closing remarks.
I'm sorry, what just happened?
No, I
Go
was
ahead.
going to say, as you speak and as you share what you wanted to share just now, I also wanted to, ask you to share any closing remarks that you may have, and you want to share with our viewers, if there's anything else you want them to know.
Sure, sure. Well, I hope everybody knows we're doing this transgender readiness program, because that's big. Leilani is leading it, and is going to lead it in. So, and we are going to require more trainers in the future. So I'm hoping that we really broaden out our workforce readiness program along with our workforce inclusion training. And we're only hiring, when we do hire people, they'll be transgender or gender diverse folks. That's what they will be. That's the only people who will be teaching this. Because look, if we're teaching about transgender, gender diverse issues, it should be taught by transgender, gender diverse people. So that's it. The other thing I would say is, we really do have to start to think about taking care of one another a lot better. That means working together as much as we possibly can, supporting one another, and doing things like, we've been doing together, Leilani, right? So, and Sebastian. So I think that that's really the most important, and I hope that everybody in the community starts, pull together, because, look, New York's in good shape. The country is a shit show. So we need to be the beacon light.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I thank you for that. I thank you for that. So if any of our viewers want to reach out to you, if they want to sign up for the work readiness workforce inclusion program, how can they reach you?
Sure. Well, you can go to our website, which is Trans New York, trans NEWYORK.org, or you can email me at Herley, HERLEY, at transnewyork.org. Or you can reach out to Leilani. You can reach out to Leilani about the Workforce Readiness Program. She's, she's the queen now. So
that's right. So we have 2 minutes left. I want to say thank you to Dr. Gennifer Herley. Not only, a friend of the show, but, our friend, our family, thank you for accepting the invitation to be a guest on Sofa Chat, but also thank you for being so open and honest and vulnerable, not just with me, but also with our viewers that will view this now live with us and also have the opportunity to view it at a later date. So thank you so much for being so transparent. It's so refreshing. Please don't go nowhere. We're going to swap back to my single screen real quick so that I can do my closeout. And then we'll be back after the show, after we exit out Dr. Jen. So we're coming to the end of our show. We have about 60 seconds before we end this show and this broadcast. I want to thank you all for tuning in this evening. As you know, we have an insightful show every week. And as we say all the time, everything we share is the lived experience of the individual and the individual's opinions. We do not endorse or support any organization or any company. But if you'd like to throw us a sponsorship, we'll catch it real quick. We also want to keep in mind that we are doing the Just Slay challenge. So send in your selfies with Just Slay and her Slay campaign to sofachat02@gmail.com. Next week, we have an amazing guest. We have Vic Twan. He is a HIV Stops with Me spokesmodel, and he is also an employee of Amita Care, doing amazing things within the peer community. So as we tell you guys every week, have a beautiful, blessed day. Turn your negatives into a positive. And if ain't nobody tell you they love you, I need you to look into the mirror, grab a phone, pull a selfie, tell yourself that you are beautiful, you are amazing, you are valuable, because you matter. Have a great week, y'all. Bye.